Hello! Praise the moon, praise the moon. Today I'm gonna try something I've never done. Ranking bosses. So, without being redundant and basic that I'm just gonna copy everyone else's list, I went ahead and just applied the knowledge I got from the boss, the area leading up to the boss, the music of the boss, not so much the difficulty of the boss, but so much as the meaning behind the boss. So with all these bosses, let's get into some ranking. But wait, yeah, we're gonna have to change this shit. Let's change this attire, if you don't mind. Ah, my dude, so much better. Let's change this attire. So now I am going to be ranking some Bloodborne bosses. My top 5 picks from after playing through the game on New Game and New Game Plus. This is what it boils down to, what makes me want to play this game again, is these 5 bosses right here. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm really out of my comfort zone doing this. And I'm sure I already know it's been done a million times over by a million other YouTubers, but this is going to be my take on ranking my top 5 Bloodborne bosses. Enjoy. Alright, so hear me out on my top 5. So number 5 will be the Celestial Emissary. The reason I picked this boss is because the area leading up to it. The game's disturbing, but this level, this lead up, it's horrifying. And plus the music just adds the atmosphere. So this is what I mean by we're ranking the areas along with the boss and the meaning behind the boss. It's a whole other atmosphere compared to the rest of the game in here. This is literally a haunted house feeling. And then when the werewolves start shaking the lamp and everything, yeah. It's just a creepy vibe all around. It's just great. I think it's underappreciated. I get it. The boss sucks. But I mean, the area is just so underappreciated. It's just pure horror compared to the rest of the game. The rest of the game's disturbing, I guess, in the mind's eye. This is what I would consider their take on horror, because this area is nothing more than a horror house. So now, approaching the boss, the tension doesn't stop. You're just greeted with a bunch of these little blue fucking monster alien type things, until eventually you kill the one that actually transforms. But this arena, oh, I just love it. It's something right out of Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me. But enough with the movie references of the funny shit. Let's actually reference some more funny shit, huh? So, y'all remember a stupid-ass movie in the early 2000s called Cowboys vs. Aliens? Nah, me neither. Well, anyway, it exists. So, it seems that Miyazaki said, hold my beer, because I'm about to base a whole community off that. Boom shock. Bloodborne is essentially Cowboys vs. Aliens. Now, we get confirmation from the choir guard. Attire of the choir, highest ranking members of the Healing Church. Members of the choir are both the highest ranking clerics of the Healing Church and scholars who continue the work that began at Bergenworth, together with the Left Behind Great One. Now that's the key right there. They look to the skies in search of astral signs that may lead them to a rediscovery of true greatness. They found aliens, y'all. It's literally the basis behind the entire game. They found aliens, They used alien blood because it got them high and more intoxicating than alcohol. We find that simply from a blood vial. That blood is more produced in Yharnam than alcohol because its effects are more intoxicating. But where did they get the blood? The answer to that, right behind this fog gate, the left behind Great One. Abradis, daughter of the cosmos. This is where they got their blood. This is the blood that started the Scourge of Beasts. And that's why Celestial Emissary takes my top 5. So while I'm hanging out with the Feed Me Seymour plants here, thought we'd all hang out for a bit, I did go ahead and clarify. So now, while Celestial Emissary may be my top 5, it's specifically because of the meaning behind it and the fact that it just leads to a better boss in terms of lore and fighting. So without the Celestial Emissary, I don't think Abradis would be more better, I don't think. I don't know if that makes sense. But I think the whole lead up to Abradis is what makes Celestial Emissary my number 5. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, as I attempted to put some kind of twist on a very shitty boss. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4, Murgo's Wet Nurse. When it comes down to lore, I guess this one kind of takes the cake. As approaching here, you get a vision of Queen Yharnam, and obviously it's a pregnancy gone wrong, and she does not like what came out. Well, the result was an actual great one that actually died in, I'm guessing, stillbirth, but Mensis somehow kept it alive in the nightmare world. And then you get to fight its wet nurse. And what the fuck a wet nurse does for a great one is just fucking beyond me, dude. It's well beyond me. But you really can't beat the build up to this boss. Again, another shitty boss, but I do enjoy the lore behind it. The entire area, it's what makes it for me. So that's why Murgo's Wet Nurse will go down as number 4. Now, just even more creepier vibes. We could see that some of these Mensis dolls are children, as showcased right here. So, what does a wet nurse feed a great one? Well, you have enough subjects lined up. They're all dreaming and giving their consciousness to this thing, I'm assuming, anyway. If someone else has already put out a video that explains all this and this is just redundant and stupid, hey, fuck me, right? But this is where I'm getting from it. Because some of these skeletons are only half our size. So that means they've been feeding it the children and the scholars of Mensis. So, I don't know if you can get any creepier than that. And I don't know if you can get any more dark than that. Speaking of dark, you ever get caught up in its dark attack? Yeah, he brings a clone out and decides to anal rape you with no lube at all. So, I guess we'll break into some actual, as the community would say, good bosses with number 3. The best sight in the game. After beating Murgo's Wet Nurse, coming a little too close to the truth of what happened, you come home to your little hunter's dream, a safe haven, and it is on fire. The doll instructs you that Gurman is waiting for you under the tree. And that is just tension buildup alone. Now, upon entering this lock gate that's unlocked the whole game, you're greeted with the tombstones of every hunter that came before you. And now, it may not seem a lot to some people, but look at how long the Scourge of Beasts has been going on and how many hunters have been needed. And then finally, Gurman sits in his chair underneath the tree, granting you two options. One, to end your nightmare, seal his truth in his secret. But if you should choose the option B, ooh, are you in for a treat. So now the fight is not just your typical hunter fight. Gurman now officially has legs that work very, very well. Moves at the speed of an old hunter, hits like a fucking freight train. He's just like literally the perfect boss. And another reason why I pick him is not only lore alone, it's his soundtrack. The soundtrack, while fighting him, just brings despair that someone has just grown tired of doing this work, but he still must do this work. And it's no surprise because he has a great one behind him, making him do this. And should you beat Gurman and consume the 3 umbilical cords, you get to meet that great one, leading to another boss fight. We're not going to talk about that one, but we are here for Gurman. Gurman just takes my number 3 because soundtrack, lore, the fact that he looks like Grandpa, old Shandy, drinking his fucking moonshine in the wheelchair, and then all of a sudden gets up and makes you call him Daddy. That alone warrants number 3. Alright, we're breaking into top tier. Not only in difficulty, but in soundtrack and lore. The legends are here. The first Visser William, and of course, my number 2 pick, Ludwig the Accursed and Ludwig the Holy Blade. Now, the build up to this boss. Obviously, you got some big boys that you could fight, but it's just a blood river. It's just literally a river of blood, and you come across a noise. He is stuck to the blood river, trying to get out. The literal example of desperation. Now, aside from Homeboy beating his fucking self up, it's just the lead up. Like, this is despair. They're not dead. It's just literally despair. A curse. And speaking of curses, my man's got it in his name. Ludwig the Accursed. Walking in here, you're greeted with a jumping attack from a fucking 2-headed horse with a great Moonlight Greatsword. Yeah, a great Moonlight Greatsword. Moonlight Greatsword. And that comes second phase. Now that's not before shattering your fucking eardrums with one of the most best soundtracks to ever grace our ears out of any of these games. So while all that's happening, he's jumping on the roof, you're watching for blood spots, he is just aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. And for being the size he is, it's just ridiculous. And he's the only boss in any of these games to have 2 original soundtracks. Thank you to my chat and a subscriber for helping me with that information. Aside from that, you are greeted with one of these blood guys who's obviously been here a long time, that he's begging for death. And he greets you and meets, well, yeah, he presents to you Ludwig, which is literally badass on his own. And during the second phase, where he grabs the moonlight, he's a little more tame in my book, but still the difficulty does not let up. So Ludwig, I mean, really, there should be no other choice for top 3. So Ludwig takes my top 2 spot. I thought I'd do an honorable mention. Lady Maria. She would have ranked so much higher had it not been for the fight. The fight itself consists of her holding back from using blood art to kill you, but eventually succumbing to it and going into 3 phases of using not only blood art, but fire attack bases as well. What killed it for me is that it's just another hunter battle. You can parry it, make it the easiest thing in the world. But secondly, look at this fucking tree. You're greeted with the living failures before you have access to Lady Maria. Now, what brings this boss to just an honorable mention and not on my list is the fact that you have to hear her name 50 times before you even get here. By that point, I just want to slap this bitch like she owes me child support. Like, for real. I'm just tired of hearing her fucking name. But I feel like the boss before her was just wasted. Something more could have came out of this tree. Like, this tree could have been the boss after you kill the 4 living failures, and something could have happened transporting you to how the effect comes over when they do their meteor rain. Something like that. Like, just all dark meteors coming randomly, and this being the boss. I feel like it was wasted potential here, and wasted potential here. Because Lady Maria, I think, would have been a lot better off with a beast transformation like Father Gascoigne. It's just, it would make sense lore-wise. I think it would made the fight a lot better in Phase 3, and I think it would have caught a lot of players off guard. Because, you know, it's like, oh, another hunter battle. Let me just spam my pistol. Hopefully I'll get a parry. So unfortunately, Lady Maria only gets an honorable mention. Did you think it would be anyone but? You're talking difficulty, lore, build-up, music. This boss has it all. And it is just such a good conclusion to the series, to the game. Yeah, to the series. This is not a series. To the game. So, walking up, you get to meet all these snails praying. So you already know you fucked up and you're about to fight a badass. You already know you fucked up. But walking out, it's just, you're greeted with Mother Kaz, or some say Kazum, giving birth to this orphan as she dies or is dead, because you do have to hit this thing a couple times to get the cutscene at the end. So now this thing is either still just barely alive enough to give birth, or this thing fought its way out and was still alive, and we kill its spirit or something. With these games, you never know. So now breaking it down, the first phase, the music is sad. It really is. You gotta think of it like this. This thing hasn't been on this planet for more than a minute, and already it sees the body of its mother, and you trying to kill it. Believe me, anything like that is gonna act aggressive. And man, is he aggressive. This entire fight from phase 1 through 3 or 4, or however many he has, keeps you on your toes. There's zero room for error most times. And once during phase 3, he can just about one-shot you at 40 level health. This boss just has it all. The music builds up. It goes from I feel very sorry from having to kill this, but I want to find the secret of why I'm here, to you fucked up. Because once it sprouts its wings, yeah, you fucked up if you ain't ready. So, yeah, none other than #1 pick is going to be Orphan. The arena alone, where you can fight out here on the coast, or over its mother's dead body, the coastline, anywhere. It just makes for an epic, epic battle. And Orphan will forever go down as much rage and much love in my book.
Sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.